Good morning, Your Honor. This is Theodore Leal, Spanish interpreter. The interpreter has already been sworn.
Great, thank you. Good morning. I have the first Spanish case here. Are you dialed into the headphones?
Which courtroom in the jail would that be, Your Honor?
Courtroom 2, please.
Thank you. Connected, Your Honor.
Great, thank you. Sir, good morning. Tell me your name, please.
Javier Marquez.
Mr. Marquez, this is 20MM2875. You were arrested for battery, domestic violence. There's probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there a witness for Mr. Marquez?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
It's in the booth.
Ma'am, can you hear me?
It's a guy. It's a male, Your Honor.
Excuse me?
Yes, my name's Jeffrey.
Okay, good morning, sir. Could you please raise your right hand to be sworn in by the clerk?
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you're Mr. Gibson, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you want to have contact with Mr. Marquez?
Yes.
Are you afraid of him?
No.
And you live with Mr. Marquez?
Yes.
How long have you been in a relationship?
A little over a year.
Have there been any instances of violence between the two of you during your relationship?
No.
All right. State, did you have any questions for the witness?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Marquez, at this time, I'm going to order that you are not to have any hostile contact with Mr. Gibson. Do you understand what that means?
Yes.
All right. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. And at this time, I am going to place you on pretrial release. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Gibson. Good morning. Tell me your name, please.
Duhamel Morales. Duhamel Morales.
Duarel Morales.
This is case number 20MM2882. Sir, you were arrested for battery domestic violence. There's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there a witness for Mr. Morales?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Okay.
Here in the booth.
Mr. Rodriguez, can you hear me?
Yes,
All right. And you speak English?
correct.
Okay. Ma'am, do you want to have contact with Mr. Morales?
Yes,
And how long have you been in a relationship with him?
9 months?
Do you have any children together?
No.
Do you live together?
Yes,
All right. So do you have any questions? Okay. Mr. Morales, at this time, I am going to order that you are not to have any hostile contact with Ms. Rodriguez. Do you understand what that means?
No. ¿Cómo es?
No.
All right. It means that you're not allowed to argue with her. You cannot fight. You cannot act aggressive toward her or disrespectful in any way. Do you understand?
Sí, entiendo.
Yes, I understand.
All right. You're also not to possess or consume any alcohol or controlled substances without a valid prescription or possess any weapons. Courtney, can I place him on pretrial release?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Sir, I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
thank you.
Sir, good morning. Your name?
Adolfo Vázquez Pérez.
Adolfo Vázquez Pérez.
Sir, this is 20MM366. You were arrested for 3 counts of battery domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there a witness here for Mr. Vasquez Perez?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you Ms. Torres?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And ma'am, do you want to have contact with Mr. Vasquez Perez?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you afraid of him?
No, ma'am.
Do you have any concerns about your children's safety if I were to allow contact between the two of you?
No, ma'am.
All right, and you want him to come back home?
Yes, ma'am. I want him to come back home.
State, do you have any questions for the witness? All right. Ma'am, I'm sorry, sir, you are not to have any hostile contact with Ms. Torres. Do you understand what that means?
Yes.
You are also not to possess or consume any alcohol or controlled substances without a valid prescription. You're not to possess any weapons. Courtney, he qualifies for pretrial as well?
He does qualify.
Okay. Sir, I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, your name?
Jorge Garcia.
Sir, this is 20 CF 4813. You were arrested for aggravated assault with a firearm. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. You're not to have any contact with the victim. Courtney, can
That's
he
fine.
be placed on pretrial release?
He does qualify for a pretrial.
Okay. Mr. Garcia Santos, you are going to be placed on pretrial release at this time. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Was that the last Spanish case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good morning, Your
Okay.
Honor.
All right, Mr. Interpreter, thank you so much for your help.
You're very welcome, Your Honor.
Have a great day.
You too, Your Honor.
Good
All right,
morning.
tell me your name, sir.
My name is Ivan de los Santos Lorenzo Hernandez.
Yes, sir, you're here in 20 CF 4809. You were arrested for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there any witnesses for Mr. De Los Santos?
No, Your Honor.
No?
No.
Okay. Sir, you're not to have any contact with your mom or your brother. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or any firearms, sir.
Okay, no problem.
I'm also going to order that you are to take any prescribed medication as directed by your doctor.
Okay, thank you.
Courtney, does Mr. De Los Santos qualify for pretrial?
He did not qualify.
How come?
I was assaulted, but I didn't do assaulting back.
Wait, no. I don't want you to talk to me about your case, sir, okay? I'm asking the pretrial officer in there why you would not qualify.
At that time,
Was he not interviewed?
he was interviewed. At that time, his prints wasn't clear. We had no contact with the victim. Did you still want to put him on court order pretrial?
I do.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Good morning.
We're finished. Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too.
Yes.
Good morning, Mr. Charles.
Hey,
How are you today?
all right.
So, Mr. Charles, you're here in 20 MM 2879. You were arrested for trespassing at Walmart. There's probable cause. Mr. Charles, you understand that you can't go to Walmart.
Yeah.
Okay. Every time you go, they're just going to keep having you arrested. You cannot return.
So,
Am I clear?
yeah.
Okay. I'm going to release Mr. Charles on his own recognizance at this time. I'm not taking any action on the out on bond cases. Thank you, Mr. Charles.
Your Honor, the next person on the docket assigned yet, is medical.
Medical?
I'm sorry, mental health.
Okay. I think you said mental health. Ms. Fowler, I'm going to appoint your office in 20 CF 4783. Do you want me to waive his appearance and complete the initial appearance? Okay. So he was arrested for resisting officer with violence, petty theft, and trespass on property after warning. There is probable cause he's not to return to the Young's Market or possess any weapons. Bond on count 1 is going to be $500. Bond on count 2, $100. Bond on count 3, $100. Morning, Mr. Dallas.
Hello.
How are you today, sir?
Okay.
Mr. Dallas, you're here in 20 MM 2839. You were arrested for trespass on property after warning. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Mr. Dallas, we've talked about this before. You can't go to the Lynx bus station.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
But pretty soon, if you keep going back, I'm not going to have any choice but to have you stay here.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Are we clear?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to release Mr. Dallas on his own recognizance at this time, and I'm not going to take any action on the out on bond case. Thank you, Mr. Dallas.
Thank you.
Your Honor, Miller, he's medical.
Yes.
He's medical.
Miller's medical. All right. Ms. Fowler, do you want me to waive his, you want to waive his appearance as well? That's an 18 CF 15304. It's a violation of probation. At this time on the VOP, his bond is set at none. It's alleged that he failed to report as required and has not paid his cost of supervision and did not undergo the evaluation of Aspire that he was required to. And then he has a new law offense of 20 CF 4807. He was arrested for criminal mischief at a place of worship, criminal mischief greater than $1,000, and providing false ID to law enforcement. There is probable cause. He's not to return to the Shiloh Baptist Church. Bond on count 1 is $1,000. Bond on count 2, $150. Bond on count 3, $100. Sir, good morning.
Hello.
Tell me your name, please.
Adrian Hulse.
Mr. Hulse, you're here in 20 MM 2761. This is your arraignment for the offense of battery. You are represented by the public defender. Ms. Fowler, how would he like to proceed?
Your Honor, there was no offer, so I would advise him to plead not guilty.
Not guilty, okay. What date?
Division 84, pre-trial conference date will be 14, 8:45 a.m.
Mr. Hulse, did you hear that?
What is it?
Your next court date is May 14th at 8:45 a.m. in courtroom 4B.
Okay, and what's my bond now going to be?
I don't know.
I believe it's $3,500, his bond.
On this case?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Oh, it looks like it was transferred from a felony case. So, Mr. Hulse, you're going to need to have your lawyer file a bond motion in this matter, and I've got the public defender in the courtroom here with me now, and I'm sure she's making a note of that, and we'll reach out to the lawyer that's assigned to your case.
Okay.
Your original bond is $3,500, but it looks like the state of Florida didn't charge you with the felony. They filed it as a misdemeanor.
Okay, so when do you think that'll happen? When I can get it lowered?
I don't know. So like I said, I would reach out, if I were you, to the public defender today. And I have one of their lawyers here in the courtroom with me who will also make a note and reach out to the lawyer that's assigned to your case. They'll have to get the motion filed.
Okay, how do I get a hold of my attorney?
So see that piece of paper they just gave you?
Yeah. Okay.
And the information's right on that form, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Good morning, your name?
Willie Edward Vance II.
All right, how about Mr. Brown? Freddie Brown?
It's traffic arraignment. Traffic arraignment.
Are we doing arraignments now, Your Honor?
Yes, we're in the arraignment file.
I'm gonna need the arraignments. Brown, I need Brown. Brown, Denmark, Fonseca.
Come on, bro. Right here, bro.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, ma'am.
Are you Mr. Freddie Brown?
Yes, ma'am. Freddie Brown.
Okay, this is 20 CT 605. Your arraignment for the offense of driving while license suspended with knowledge. Ms. Fowler, how would he like to proceed?
Your Honor, there was an offer of adjudication of guilt, credit time served. He will be able to resolve his case today.
All right. Mr. Brown, did you want to accept the offer of credit time served?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, he is
All right,
on county probation.
Oh, you're on probation, Mr. Brown?
No, ma'am.
Terminated
Terminated.
Okay. It was terminated?
Yes, ma'am.
from March 5th, 2020.
Got it. Okay. Mr. Brown, did you have a chance to look at the plea form this morning?
No, ma'am. I ain't seen that.
Okay, I believe there's one right there. Why don't you just take a moment and read the plea form and let me know if you have any questions?
I'm familiar with it, ma'am. I don't have no questions.
Okay.
All right.
We just talked about the fact that you're not on probation. You do understand, though, if you're not a U.S. citizen, this plea would subject you to deportation.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, sir, I'm going to accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 74 days in the Orange County Jail. You've got credit for 74 days time served.
Yes, ma'am.
You will have to pay court costs, which will be due by, what's today, April 20th, 2021. You have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Your Honor, can I ask you a question? This case right here, it took a bond from me. How do I go about getting my bond back from my other case?
What did you have?
I had a bond, but this case right here, because they said it was a methamphetamines in it, but they dropped all them charges right there. So I'm trying to see how can I go about getting my bond that I had before back?
You had a bond revoked on a different case?
Yeah, and they dropped because it was some drug charges, but they dropped the charges. The charges got dropped because it ain't supposed to been there. It's just supposed to been a driving charge. So I'm trying to see
Ms. Fowler, do you have any information about that?
I think it's a possession charge that he's speaking about, and he has a private attorney, so I don't know.
No,
I think he has a $1,000 bond.
I got a $1,000 bond on it.
Bond at
That's
this
what I-
time.
Courtney, what does he have?
It's a no bond at this time. It's 2019 CF 01408080, possession of controlled substance.
Yes, ma'am.
104080.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
And because of this case, they snatched that bond from me.
Right, so let me take a look and see what. I'm sorry, Courtney, was it 2020 or 2019?
2019 CF 01408080.
Trial period beginning today.
So here's the,
I have no objection to setting a bond here.
I can't set a felony bond here today. Yeah, that's Judge Adams. Tracy Kagan represents him on that matter.
She withdrawed off the case now.
Oh, she did?
Yes, I'm not dealing. I don't have no lawyer on the case. That's why I was trying to see can I get my bond back.
All right. So I'm going to reappoint the public defender to represent you on that case.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, and they'll need to file a bond motion to see if the trial judge will set a bond in that case.
Okay, can you put in for it and see if can they file the bond motion on it for me?
Yes, sir.
All right, I appreciate that, man.
All right.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. It is 2019 CF 14080. Good morning, sir. Your name?
Denmark, Skytrail.
What is it?
Skytrail, Denmark.
So I'm looking for Carolyn Fonseca or Travis Trimble.
Trumbull is medically young.
I don't have Denmark at all.
I have Trumbull right here.
Oh, I have it. Thank you.
One second, Your Honor.
All right. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
You're here in 19 MM 8832 your arraignment for the offense of petty theft of $100 or more. You also have 2019-9568, your arraignment for the offenses of petty theft of $100 or more and petty theft with a prior conviction. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you on 8832. You are represented by the public defender in 9568. Ms. Fowler, how would she like to proceed?
Your Honor, there was an offer of adjudication of guilt, credit time served, no return, cost of investigation to the Orlando Police Department, $152.25. And in 9568, there's a cost of investigation to Orlando Police Department for $124.68.
Okay, so 124.68. What's this cost of investigation in the 8832?
$152.25.
All right. Ms. Fonseca, did you want to enter a plea to both of these cases today? The offer is credit time served.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you have a chance to review the plea form before court this morning?
Yes, I did.
All right. Do you have any questions about any of the rights that you're giving up?
No.
Are you on probation, ma'am?
No, ma'am.
And you understand if you are not a U.S. citizen, this plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I will accept your plea in both cases, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 14 days, credit time served. In each case, you are not to return to the scene. In MM832, you have to pay court costs, including cost of investigation to the Orlando Police Department in the amount of $152.25. And in 9568, you have to pay cost of investigation of $124.68 to the Orlando Police Department. All of those costs, including your court costs, will be due on April 20th of 2021, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Denmark?
No, Ms. Fonseca. Prince.
And she'll need prints. Good morning, Mr. Denmark.
Morning.
Yes, make sure she has two sets of prints, please, because she has two separate cases. Mr. Denmark, you are here in case number 20MM2764. This is your arraignment for the offense of petty theft. You are represented by the public defender. How would he like to proceed, Ms. Fowler?
Your Honor, there was an offer of adjudication of guilt, credit time served, cost of investigation to Orlando Police Department, $203.85, and a reserve on restitution.
All right. Mr. Denmark, did you want to accept the plea offer this morning?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you have a chance to review the plea form before court?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about any of the rights on the plea form?
No, ma'am.
Are you on probation?
No, ma'am.
And you understand that if you're not a U.S. citizen, this plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes, I do.
All right, Mr. Denmark, I will accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 52 days in the county jail. You've got credit for 52 days time served. You will have to pay court costs, including cost of investigation of $203.85. I'm going to order restitution and reserve as to the amount for 60 days. If the state submits documentation about whatever that amount may be, you also would be required to pay that as well. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Are you Mr. Trimble?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
All right, this is 20MM2056. You were arrested, or I'm sorry, this is your arraignment for the offense of trespass in an occupied structure. Ms. Fowler, how would he like to proceed?
Your Honor, he does have an offer, but he has an out-of-county violation probation.
All right. So, Mr. Trimble, today is your arraignment date. The public defender, your attorney, has just advised me that you also have an out-of-county violation of probation. So I believe she's indicating that it would not be in your best interest to resolve this case today, given you're on probation. So he's going to enter a plea of not guilty. Okay, so Mr. Trimble, we're going to give you another court date. You'll have an opportunity to talk to your lawyer about what your options are prior to entering the plea.
Pretrial conference day will be June 4th.
June 4th.
Courtroom 9B.
All right. Did you hear that, Mr. Trimble?
No, Your Honor.
So your next court date's June 4th at 8:30 a.m. in courtroom 9B. Thank you, sir. Ma'am, good morning.
Good morning.
Are you Miss Rivers? Who's that?
Are we going straight down the docket now, Your
I have Gabrielle Rivers.
no, that should be that's the girl I'm going to court for. On child support.
Oh, or Willie Vance. I mean, are you Mr. Vance?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I was reading the petitioner, not the respondent. Excuse me. Mr. Vance, you're here for a writ of attachment. At this time, you are going to be released on your own recognizance. They're going to give you an order that has a court date on it. You're going to have to come back to the Orange County Courthouse on June 1st at 2:15 p.m. in courtroom 540.
Okay, question. I got the first initial paperwork of child support, and then I noticed that I was getting money docket from my paychecks, but I never went to do the DNA test. They never gave me a chance to.
All right, Mr. Vance, I don't have any information about that issue. That's something you're going to have to probably talk to a lawyer about or a hearing officer about. But today, I just need to inform you when your next court date is and where you need to be, sir. Okay? You'll get a copy of the order with your release paperwork so you know exactly where you need to be.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Did I miss it? No. There's Mr. Vance. Ma'am, tell me your name, please.
Francis Fitzgerald.
Ms. Fitzgerald, you are here in case number 20 CF 4806. You were arrested for aggravated battery. There's probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there a witness for Ms. Fitzgerald?
No, Your Honor.
Ma'am, you are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or any firearms.
Okay.
I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ma'am, do you have any questions about the no contact order?
I have paperwork on it. No questions.
All right, thank you.
You have a great day.
You too. Good morning, your name?
Daniel Lotu.
Sir, you're here in 20 CF 4819. You were arrested for battery, one prior, and violation of a domestic injunction.
Yes, ma'am.
There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there a witness for Mr. Laltu?
No, Your Honor.
Sir, you are not to have any contact with your father. You are to maintain a separate residence. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. You are also to abide by the injunction in 18 DR 5741. Do you have any questions, sir, at all about the no contact order?
Nope.
You understand that every time you violate that domestic violence injunction, that it is a separate criminal offense?
Well, as you can read the affidavit, I called 911 on my own self. And
No, but that's not what I don't want to talk to you other facts. I'm asking
That's
you.
all right.
Do you understand? Didn't. 2,500 on count one, 2,500 on count two. Sir, good morning. Your name?
Good morning, Your Honor. Michael Lewis.
Mr. Lewis, sir, you were here in 20 CF 4820. You were arrested for battery on a person 65 years or older and battery domestic violence. Is the other defendant, can we bring in the other Mr. Lewis?
he's on his way.
He's on the way? He's in the misdemeanor, I think. Isn't he? Yeah, misdemeanor. There we go. His first name is Larry, last name Lewis. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Are you Larry Lewis?
Yes, I am.
All right. Do you want to have contact with Michael?
That's fine with me. Yes.
Okay. Are you afraid of Michael?
No.
Do you live in the same house?
Yes.
Do you want to continue living in the same home?
No.
Okay. Michael, do you want to have contact with your dad?
Yes.
Are you afraid of him?
No, Your Honor.
Do you live with your dad?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. Michael, I'm going to order that you're not to have any hostile contact with your dad. Do you understand what that means?
Understood.
Okay. You will need to maintain a separate residence. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. I'm going to place you on pretrial release. And then, Mr. Lewis, Larry, I'm going to order that you are not to possess any weapons or firearms. You're not to have any hostile contact with your son. You're also to maintain a separate residence. And I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time as well, sir. Do either of you have any questions?
No.
Michael?
No questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Good morning, sir. Your name?
Nadir Smith.
Mr. Smith, this is case number 20 CF 4815. You were arrested for aggravated assault. There is probable cause. I am going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there a witness here for Mr. Smith?
No, Your Honor.
All right, sir, you're not to have any contact with any of the victims. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or firearms.
He does qualify for a pretrial, Your Honor.
Thank you, Courtney. Mr. Smith, I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time. Do you have any questions at all about the no contact order?
Currently I was reading in the report. I'm not sure whether I need to read it over. I apologize.
What do you have a question about the no contact order?
The victims don't stay there, but I'm not sure if my mother was a victim too.
Okay, can I see that paperwork again? So it's your mom's house?
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me your mom's name.
Bernice Smith.
She's listed,
Okay.
so you can't stay there.
All right.
You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You have any other questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
One-time return, Your Honor.
Yeah, so Mr. Smith, if you need to return to the house one time to get your things, you may do so, but you have to go with the police.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Your name?
Thaddeus Watts.
Mr. Watts, you're here in 20 CF 4808. You were arrested for battery by strangulation, domestic violence. There's probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there a witness for Mr. Watts?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Watts, you are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Mr. Watts, do you have any questions at all about the no contact order?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Your name?
Mike Shane Wiggum.
Mr. Wickham, this is 20 CF 4821. You were arrested for battery on a person 65 years of age or older, battery, domestic violence, and tampering with a witness to hinder communication to law enforcement. There's probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there a witness for Mr. Wingham?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Sir, you are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or any firearms. Bond on count 1 is $1,500. Bond on count 2 is $100. Bond on count 3 is $150. Sir, do you have any questions about the no contact order?
Yes, ma'am. My first question is, my stepfather, that I had a confrontation with, said he was going to drop the charges. I was wondering how that works.
Well, today is simply your initial appearance. It's where you're informed of what you were arrested for and the conditions of release are set. The state of Florida is who determines whether or not they're going to pursue the actual charges. They will obtain input from your dad. He can let them know how he would like to proceed, but that decision ultimately rests with the state of Florida.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Do you have any questions about the order, sir?
You said the no contact order. Can you explain that one more time, please?
Well, did you read the order, sir?
I read the order.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess I should.
So it's pretty thorough. It means that you can't have contact with him in any way. You can't call, you can't text, you can't FaceTime, you can't have a third party contact him on your behalf. If you need to go to the house one time to get your things with law enforcement, you may do that. But other than that, no contact means absolutely no contact.
Okay. And you said the bond was $1,500.
On count 1, and then you've got 2 other bonds of $100 and $150.
150. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name, sir?
Renato White.
Mr. White, you're here in 20 CF 4822. You were arrested for battery by strangulation, tampering with a witness to hinder communication to law enforcement, and criminal mischief. There's probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there a witness for Mr. White?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. White, you are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Do you have any questions about the no contact order?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you have a chance to read it this morning before court?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Count 1, bond is $1,500. Count 2, $150. Count 3, $100.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. White. Mr. Ford, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good, sir. Thank you. This is 20MM 2873. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there a witness for Mr. Ford?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Ford, you're not to have any contact with Ms. DeChain. You are to maintain a separate residence. You're not to possess any weapons or any firearms, sir. Your bond is $500.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, your name?
Tyler Gillum.
Mr. Gillum, this is 20MM 2881. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There is probable cause. I am going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there a witness for Mr. Gillum?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Gillum, you are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You are not to possess any weapons or any firearms. Your bond, sir, is $500. Do you have any questions about the no contact order?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Next, Mr. Hatcher.
Correct.
I explained to defense a moment ago that I just received an email that was forwarded to me from Ms. Fusco regarding the victim unable to make it.
Okay.
But I'd like to read what the information says, the email that she sent from Melissa Hatcher.
Okay.
She asked to whom it may concern. I am attempting to file a petition for injunction against Mr. Chad Edward Hatcher for DV. I've been going through a divorce. For over a year now, and he has been physically, verbally, mentally abusive. Last night, he melted down and got physical at something minuscule as me trying to put a 2 gallons of milk and 4 cartons of strawberries in the refrigerator. Upon opening the fridge, I noticed a big box of 12-pack of Corona beers, 12-pack of White Claw, 12-pack of Coke, 2-liter Coke, and 2 gallons of sweet tea. He had been home all day by himself, so he was most likely drinking since the beer was new and a few were gone. I asked why he had taken all that out of the fridge, put all that in the fridge, taking up all that space that I couldn't even put the girls' milk and fruit in. He melted down and shoved me out of the way, pushing through, and took 4 cartons of strawberries and threw them at the counter and floor. My girls were standing there when he did this. We immediately went to my room and called the police at 9:40 p.m. He was arrested around 10:30. Chad has been extremely controlling, manipulative since he probably feels he has lost control in the divorce. He has become increasingly more hostile and acting irrational. It goes through a litany of more, but that's the sum of that letter, Your Honor.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Hatcher.
Good morning, ma'am.
Sir, this is case number 20MM178. You are arrested for battery. There is probable cause. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. I understand that Ms. Hatcher is not present today, although the state did read the email. At this time, sir, I'm going to order that you're not to have any contact with her. You are to maintain a separate residence. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms.
Am I allowed to speak on her email behalf, or?
Well, so here's the deal, Mr. Hatcher. I don't want you to try to explain your side of the story today. That's not what we're here for. Okay. Everything that you say in this hearing can be used against you later. So you'll have an opportunity to talk to your lawyer, and you'll have an opportunity to present your side of the story on another day. Today is simply the day where I inform you why you were arrested, and then I set your conditions of release.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that that email and what she stated is completely fabricated. And
so, and I imagine that's what you want to say, and I understand, sir, and I'd want to tell my version of events as well. But I would just want to caution you that today is not the best day to do that.
Okay, understood.
Okay.
Now, as far as no contact, the house is, I pay all the bills on that house, mortgage, utility, everything. And so is there a way to get her, she has another residence to move to, and she lived there for the last 2 weeks.
So that's also something that I cannot adjudicate today. That is more of a civil process issue or a family law issue that you all need to get sorted out. Okay. But what I can tell you is that if she is not there, you have to maintain a separate residence. So if she's not at that home, then you can be there. But if she's there, then you are not allowed to be there.
So it's a first come, first serve on the house then? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I'm simply
I mean,
telling
all of my stuff is,
you can't have contact with her. So if she's there, you can't go there.
And if I'm there and she shows up to the house, then how do I, if she comes into the house while I'm already there, do I just call the police at that point? I don't understand how, does she know not to be at the house as well?
Well, she has a right to be there. That's what I'm saying. So if she decides that she wants to stay at the house, you can't be there. I can't make her leave her own house.
Or my house.
Well, I'm just telling you, here's the order. You can't have any contact with her, and you have to maintain a separate residence. If she's at that home, you cannot be there. Okay. You can't make her leave. You have to go through the civil process for that.
Okay, but if she's not there, then I can stay at my house.
That's right.
Okay.
You may go back one time with the police to get your things if you need to do that. You'll have to call the police and have them take you to the house.
Yeah, I mean, that's my house. I've lived there for almost 8 years. And so all my stuff is there. My work stuff, my work vehicle, my work computer. I work from home. I work from that house.
I understand. So you're going to have to try to make other arrangements. You can go back with the police one time to get your things, to get your work computer, your work clothes, whatever personal items you need. It is not an opportunity for you to show up with a U-Haul and move everything out of the house. Okay? I understand you're going through divorce and you're going to have to work that out in family court. But this is not the avenue for that. If you read the order closely, you will also see that it does pertain to your children. So until that order is modified by a court, you are not to have contact with your children either.
Okay, I don't see how that's fair, but so I
That's what the
can't-
order says, sir. That's what the order says. I don't have a third party to facilitate that. You need to go to family court and get these issues worked out.
What about my lawyer? Because
You need to contact your lawyer.
Of course, but we can't do that today.
Of course you can. As soon as you're released, you can contact your lawyer, or even at the jail, you can contact your lawyer.
Okay.
All right? Do you have any other questions, sir?
No, I guess not. Now you say one time. What if I need to go back to get more clothes?
You cannot. You need to go one time and get the clothes that you need.
Okay.
Okay?
And until when would be the next time I come back in, or that I could go back to the house then? Is this like a couple week process or a couple days?
Those are all questions you're going to have to talk to your lawyer about.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Courtney, he qualifies for pretrial release.
He does qualify, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to place you, Mr. Hatcher, on pretrial release at this time. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Ma'am, good morning. Your name?
Shawan King. Good morning.
Ms. King, you were here in 20 MM 2880. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there a witness here for Ms. King?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. King, you are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Do you have any questions about the no contact order?
No, the police lady told me that for me to get my stuff out the house, I need to call them first to get my stuff out the residence.
Do you have stuff at that house?
Yes, and she told me to
Okay.
call them and have my receipt to show, so it won't be no back and forth because everything is in both our names. She was like, just
Yes.
have the receipt, so when I do have the receipts, to call the police so they can take me over there because he put an injunction on me.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to order today is that you can go back to the house one time with the police to get your things. As I just told the gentleman before you, I'm not sure what you're referencing about receipts, but this opportunity to go back to the house to get your personal effects is not an opportunity for you to take a U-Haul or any sort of other vehicle and remove everything from the house. You'll have to go to court for that, ma'am, and determine whose property belongs to whom. So today you can go back with the police to get, like your toothbrush, your toiletries, your clothes, your
Yeah.
computer, whatever it is that you need to do, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. I'm going to place Ms. King on pretrial release. Good morning, your name?
Andrew.
What's your last name, Andrew?
Naroda Kraus.
Thank you, sir. This is 20 MM 2883. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There's probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there any witnesses for Mr. Nero DeCross?
Yes, Your Honor, yes.
Okay.
Yes. You can hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Tell me your name.
Catherine Lawless, Lawless.
All right. And could you please raise your right hand to be sworn in by the clerk?
Yes.
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right. Miss Lawless, do you want to have contact with your boyfriend?
Yes.
And are you afraid of him?
No.
Okay. And the other two listed victims do not live at the residence. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And you don't have any concerns about your safety at all if I were to allow contact between the two of you?
No.
All right. So, sir, at this time, I'm going to order that you're not to have any hostile contact with Miss Lawless. Do you understand what that means?
Yes, ma'am.
You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. You are not to have any contact with, looks like your sister and her boyfriend. And you're not to possess or consume any alcohol or controlled substances without a valid prescription. Do you have any questions about anything that I've ordered?
No.
Okay. And I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lawless. Good morning. Are you Ms. Pagan?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, you're here in 20MM 2877. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Is there a witness here for Ms. Pagan?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Pagan, you're not to have any contact with the victim. You are to maintain a separate residence. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. Do you have any questions about that no contact order?
Yes, ma'am. I have 2 kids with him that live in the house with him. Am I allowed to see them?
Not until the order's modified by your lawyer. They have to file a motion.
Okay.
All right? Thank you, ma'am. Oh, pretrial release. Ms. Pagan, I'm placing you on pretrial release. Good morning, ma'am. Your name?
Alexandra Rios.
Ms. Rios, you're here in 20MM 2876. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender. Is there a witness for Ms. Rios?
Yes,
Yes.
Your Honor.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Tell me your name.
Alberto Mejia?
Mr. Mejia, could you please raise your right hand to be sworn in by the clerk?
Yes,
Do you swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
yes,
All right. And Mr. Mejia, do you want to have contact with Ms. Rios?
yes,
You've been married for 15 years?
yes, and together for 20 years. Yes, 15 years.
Okay. How many children do you have?
2 children,
How old are they?
13 and 10.
All right. Do you have any concerns about their safety if I were to allow contact between the 2 of you?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Ms. Rios, I'm going to order that you're not to have any hostile contact with your husband. Do you understand what that means?
Yes.
You are not to possess any weapons or firearms. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance at this time, ma'am. You're going to get a court date when you leave the jail. You need to make sure that you appear at that court date and contact your lawyer within 24 hours of your release from the jail.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good morning. Your name?
Marlon Taylor?
Mr. Taylor, this is 20MM 2874. You were arrested for battery domestic violence. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you, sir. Is there a witness for Mr. Taylor?
Yes, Your Honor.
You said no?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Taylor, you are not to have any contact with the victim. You are to
Victim in the booth, Your Honor.
Oh,
She's in the booth.
thank you. I'm sorry, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning.
Are you Ms. Green?
Yes.
Ms. Green, could you please raise your right hand to be sworn in by the clerk?
Look straight ahead.
And nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Green, do you want to have contact with Mr. Taylor?
No. Can I have a restraining order?
So, ma'am, I can't do that today. You have to come down to the courthouse down on Orange Avenue.
Okay.
And I believe it's on the 3rd floor. And it's still open at this time, so you'll have to come down here and request that in person. I can't order that today. I can order that he's not to have any contact with you, but in terms of getting an injunction, you have to come down and file for that in person.
Okay, and can you also make it where they're not, him and his family are not contacting me or my mother? Because they've contacted my mom and his daughter is contacting me.
Okay. So, Mr. Taylor, I want to make sure, did you get a copy of the no contact order this morning before court?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you have a chance to read it?
Yes.
Okay, so that order also pertains to a third party contacting Ms. Green on your behalf. So you can't have your mom call, your sister call, send a text, an email, or anything like that. Do you understand?
Yeah, I understand, but
Okay.
it's not me.
Okay.
It's not my doing.
So, Ms. Green, I also want to make sure that I am clear with you on what that order means. If you have concerns about either being harassed or stalked or anything like that with respect to those other people, you'll have to get an injunction against them personally. Mr. Taylor can't control those people, and I can't order those people to do anything either.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you have any other questions, Ms. Green?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So, Mr. Taylor, just to go back and summarize, no contact with Ms. Green, maintain a separate residence, no weapons, no firearms, no contact through a third party. Did you have any questions, sir?
No, I don't have a bond, and pertaining to this.
I'm about to set your bond.
Oh, okay. That's the only question I did have.
Okay.
Ma'am.
All right, but nothing about the order.
No, ma'am, that's fine. I don't even live in her area code, ma'am. I stay on the whole other side. So if anything, I live in Orange County. She lives in Lake County, so that's a good distance. So if anything, it'll be her problem. Come to see me, not mine.
All right, sir. I'm going to set your bond at $500. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Sir, good morning. Your name?
Dennis Michael Wright.
Mr. Wright, this is 20MM 364. You were arrested for violation of a domestic injunction. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You are to abide by the injunction and not have any contact with the petitioner.
Okay.
And I'm going to set your bond at $500. Mr. Wright, do you have any questions, sir?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Good morning, ma'am. Your name?
Julie Felber.
All right, Ms. Felber. How about Mr. Bowen?
You bonded, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Felber, you are here in case number 20 CF 4755. You were arrested pursuant to a probable cause warrant for accessory after the fact to a life or first degree felony, abuse of a dead human body, and tampering with physical evidence. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond on count 1 is $10,000. Your bond on count 2 is $150. Your bond on count 3 is $150. Ms. Felber, I'm also revoking the bonds in 20 CF 3746 and 19 CF 3946. Those will be set at none. Thank you, ma'am. Good morning,
Good morning.
sir. Tell
Good
me your name,
morning.
please.
James Gardner.
Mr. Gardner, this is 20 CF 4810. You were arrested for fleeing and eluding. And in 20 MM 365, you were arrested for resisting officer without violence. There is probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. Oh, that's an Osceola County case. Okay. All right, bond on 4810 will be $2,500. Bond on 365 will be $100. And I'm not going to revoke the bond on the Osceola County case. Thank you, sir.
All right.
Yeah, the next person on the docket, he refused.
Gilbert said he refused.
He refused? Okay.
Yes.
This is 20 CF 4817. I'm finding a waiver of his appearance based upon his refusal to come to court. He was arrested for robbery with a weapon and resisting officer without violence in 20 MM 367. There's probable cause for both of the offenses. I'll appoint the public defender to represent him. Bond on count 1 is going to be $2,500. Bond on the second case will be $100.
Your Honor, it's 2 counts for the resisting officer without violence.
Are there 2 different ones? Did I miss one?
2 counts.
Number 2 next account.
Oh, I see, in the box, okay. Okay, 100 on, count 1 and ROR on count 2. So the robbery charge, his bond is 2,500. And then on the 2 resisting counts, 1 is 100, and then the second count will be R. Sure. Mr. Johnson?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Johnson,
Yeah.
just give me 1 second.
All right.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, I received a response from Judge Young, who's the trial judge in your case. You were arrested in 19 CF 13378 for failing to appear for case management conference.
Right. I was.
So, Mr. Johnson, at this time, your bond on count 1 is going to be $2,000. Your bond on count 2 will be $500, sir, for a total of $2,500. Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, the next person on the docket, Marlo Bonded.
Bonded?
Yes.
Thank you.
And the person after that is Dixon Bonded. Paris.
Paracels?
Yes.
Bonded?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Rivera? Good morning, your name?
Kevin Rivera.
Mr. Rivera, you're here in 20 CF 4418. You were arrested pursuant to a probable cause warrant for burglary of a dwelling, grand theft of a dwelling, dealing in stolen property, and receiving money from a pawnbroker by false verification. October.
Can I ask a question?
Just 1 second, sir.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
You are not to return to the scene. You are not to go to a pawn shop, any pawn shop. You're not to have any contact with any of the victims.
Yes, ma'am.
Your bond on count 1 is going to be $2,500. Bond on count 2 is going to be $150. Bond on count 3, $150. Bond on count 4, $150. Based upon the date of the alleged offense, I'm not going to revoke the out on bond case at this time. What's your question, Mr. Rivera?
Wait, what does that mean?
What does what mean?
What you just said. Am I not able to be released today on bond?
You are.
Oh.
The alleged offense date of the new case is back in October of 2019. The case that you're out on bond for happened in February of this year. So you are able to bond out
So I am able to leave today.
if you can post your bond.
Yes. And I have another question. So the officer told me that I had a court date April 2nd that I didn't appear to, but I never got any notification in the mail, or a cop never came to my door. Because I went through other court cases with my mom when I was a teenager, like a young teen. And I always went to them. I made sure I was on top of everything. And when the cop told me that, I was really shocked that I had that. And they said that's why they arrested me, because I never appeared to court.
I don't have any record for that. This was an arrest warrant that they had for you. It was not a failure to appear case. It's a new case.
So this is a new case, and this was from when?
This is a new case. Yes, sir. It's alleged that back in October of 2019, you committed a burglary of a residence and then pawned the things that you stole from the house.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay, your lawyer will be able to provide you a copy of the affidavit so you can know what all the facts are.
So my bond isn't $14,000 anymore. It was dropped.
Correct. It's $2,500 on count 1, $150 on counts 2, 3, and 4.
Okay. Never mind. Could you tell me the 10% of all that so I could call?
I cannot give you that advice, sir. You'll have to call the bondsman or talk to your lawyer, okay?
All right. Can I rewrite down the numbers you said?
Sure.
What was the first charge?
$2,500
Yes.
and then 150 times 3.
So, okay. Perfect. Thank you, ma'am, so much. I appreciate
You're welcome, sir.
it. Thank you, guys.
Ma'am, good morning. Your name?
Shaquita Starker.
Ms. Starker, this is 20 CF 4811. You were arrested for aggravated battery with a weapon. There's probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. You're not to return to the Lynx bus station or have any contact with any of the victims or witnesses. Your bond is going to be $2,500, ma'am.
Your Honor, she
Thank you.
qualify for pretrial release.
Oh, she does?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Starker, I'm going to place you on pretrial release at this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Come on. Move your hand.
Good morning, sir. Your name?
Quan Antonio Walker, ma'am.
Mr. Walker, you're here in 20 CF 4812. You were arrested for aggravated battery with a weapon and battery. There's probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender. You're not to have any contact with the victim. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms. You're not to return to the Lynx bus station. Your bond on count 1 is $2,500. Your bond on count 2 is $100. And I am revoking the bonds in the out on bond cases. Those will be set at none, sir. Thank you. Good morning.
Hello, how are you?
Good, sir. Thank you. Tell me your name, please.
Raymond Walker.
Mr. Walker, you're here in 20 CF 4816. You were arrested for possession of ecstasy. There's probable cause. I'm going to appoint the public defender to represent you. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance at this time. You need to contact your lawyer within 24 hours of your release from the jail and appear at all court dates, sir. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Good morning. Your name?
Good morning, Marcus Wright.
Mr. Wright, sir, you are here in case number 20 CF 4824. You were arrested for trafficking in methamphetamine, possession of methamphetamine with intent, sale and delivery of methamphetamine, possession of amphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia, and resisting officer without violence. There's probable cause for the offenses, sir. I will appoint the public defender to represent you. Your bond on count 1 is going to be $25,000. Bond on count 2, $150, 3, $150, 4, $150, 5, $100, 6, $100. Mr. Wright, you also have reporting requirements when you're released from the jail. Do you understand?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, sir. Ma'am, good morning. Your name?
Krista Williamson.
Ms. Williamson, you're here in 19MM 10100. You failed to appear for arraignment back in January of this year. Was there an offer for Ms. Williamson?
Yes, education, guilt, credit for time served, no return to the Walmart.
Ms. Williamson, did you want to resolve your case today by entering a plea?
I signed the paper.
I understand. So you want to enter the plea?
I read it, yes.
Okay. And you read the plea form?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions about anything contained on the form?
No, ma'am.
All right. You're not on probation, correct?
No, ma'am.
Do you have any, do you understand if you're not a U.S. citizen that this plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes.
All right, ma'am. I'm going to accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty. Do you know how many days she has? 2 days. Sentence you to 2 days in the county jail. You've got credit for 2 days time served. You will have to pay court costs, which are due by April 20th of 2021. And you are not to return to the Walmart.
Okay.
Thank you.
So what does that mean?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sir, your name?
Josue Abrego.
How about Mr. Gillis?
He bonded, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Abrego, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Sir, you're here for an out-of-county warrant out of Highland County. Looks like failure to pay child support. Looks like there are 2 of them. One of them has a $5,000 purge. The other one has a $400 purge. Mr. Abrego, I can tell you that now that you've come to first appearance today, Highland County will be contacted to see if they'd like to release you and give you a court date.
Okay.
So you can still pay the purge if you want to,
What's the?
but
I'm sorry.
it's $5,400.
It's got to be paid in full,
Correct.
so it's not 10%.
No. But what's going to happen today is the Ninth Circuit's going to contact Highland County
Okay.
on these writs and see if they want to release you and give you a court date. I can't promise you that's what's going to happen, but that's been what's happening in a lot of the cases.
So, what are they gonna do exactly? Like, they won't pick me up, or?
They're not going to pick you up. So what's going to happen is either they're going to release you and give you a court date,
Okay.
or they're going to say that you have to pay the purge. You'll probably be brought back tomorrow, I'm assuming, or sometime this week if you're unable to pay it, to let you know what Highland County, what the response was,
So I basically gotta sit it out for right now.
unless you can pay.
Okay.
All right, we just have to wait to hear back from Highland County. But the request will go out today.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Are you Mr. Bailey?
Wendy Bailey.
All right, so you're here for an out-of-county warrant out of Columbia County related to driving with a license suspended and driving with a license suspended for more than 6 months. Your bond is $331, sir.
Yeah, but I already went to court up there in Georgia, but I don't know why they got a warrant for me, because they say I had to pay
For
some
failing
money
to appear.
for failing to appear. They didn't tell me to come back to court. They said I had to go pay the money.
I don't, that's the only information that I have regarding that case, sir.
What is
Okay.
Is there any way you could lower my bond, please, so I could get out?
I don't have the ability to do that, so we have to reach out to the other jurisdiction to see what they'd like to do, and that will happen today. But I don't have the jurisdiction or authority to just lower it without talking to the other county first.
All right, so I just got to sit down. I can't get a release.
Right. You'll be brought back to court once we hear from Highland, is it Highland County?
It's Columbia County.
Columbia, thank you. Once we hear back from Columbia County and how they'd like us to proceed with the case, you may be able to enter a plea. But a lawyer, the public defender's office, is going to be appointed here in Orange County, and they can help you out with the case as well.
All right, but what's the hold though? They say I got 2 hold on me.
He also has an immigration hold.
There you go. So you also have an immigration detainer.
Immigration. I just came from immigration.
Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, Crandall, he's medical.
Who's medical?
Timothy Crandall, medical.
All right, is this Mr. Golding? Where's Mr. Golding? He refused?
I'm right here. Go.
You're Mr. Golding?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Hi. Good morning.
Sir, you're here in 20 MO 519. You were arrested for open container. There's probable cause. I'll appoint the public defender. State, did you have an offer for Mr. Golding?
Adjudication credit for time served.
Sir, did you want to accept the time served offer?
What is that?
So you've been in jail for 2 days. Well, no, you have credit for 1 day. You'd enter a plea to 1 day in jail, and you have credit for 1 day.
So I don't understand what that means.
So, Mr. Golding,
yes, yes. Sorry,
That's okay.
I just have a little, disabled problems with my brain ain't too good.
Well, that's okay, sir. Do you need a moment? Do you want me to re-explain to you?
No, I understand it.
Okay. Did you have a chance to look at the plea form this morning before court?
Yes, this right here.
Do you have any questions about anything on the form?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and you're not on probation?
No.
All right, sir. You understand if you're not a U.S. citizen, this plea will subject you to deportation?
Yes.
All right, I'll accept your plea, adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to 1 day in the county jail. You've got credit for 1 day time served. You'll have to pay court costs, which will be due by April 20th of 2021. You have 30 days to appeal the judgment and sentence of the court, sir.
Okay,
Thank you.
$221 I gotta pay? April? Okay. Thank you.
All right. Tell me your name, sir.
Lazaro Pages.
Yeah, Mr. Pages.
Your Honor,
Yes.
Miami-Dade didn't accept the $500 bond when he went to post his bond.
Why?
I think it's due to it being an on-view VOP. They're saying that he doesn't have a warrant, active warrant.
All right, well, I'm releasing Mr. Pages on his own recognizance then at this time. Mr. Pages,
Yes.
I want to make sure you understand that that doesn't mean that they can't file a violation of probation warrant and have you arrested. Do you understand?
I understand.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Crandall, you said was medical?
Yes, medical.
All right. Ms. Fowler, I'm going to appoint your office. You want to waive his appearance? All right, that's 20 CF 4754. He was arrested pursuant to a probable cause warrant for accessory after the fact to second-degree murder, abuse of a dead human body, and tampering with physical evidence. His bond on count 1 is $10,000. His bond on count 2 is $5,000. His bond on count 3 is $1,000. He's not to have any contact with any of the witnesses or the victim's family members. And then Mr. Palacios.
He's mental health.
All right. Is there a witness here for Mr. Palacios?
No.
Okay. Ms. Fowler, do you want to waive his appearance? All right, I'll appoint the public defender in 20 CF 4798. He was arrested for battery by strangulation, false imprisonment, and battery. There is probable cause